So yes, we are about to see these bilateral trade talks kick off between the U.S. and China. These do happen every year. They've been rebranded this year to be called the U.S.-China Comprehensive Economic Dialogue, and it's perhaps more highly anticipated because it comes just a few days after the 100-day plan has ended. That was the deal that was struck between Presidents Trump and Xi earlier this year when they met in Florida. Now that ended over the weekend, and everyone's been sort of waiting to see what sort of agreements the two countries may have reached. About halfway through that 100-day period, there was one big success that the U.S. has continued to tout, which was a lifting of a 14-year ban on American beef exports to China. And what the U.S. government has said is that it's obviously given American farmers access to a $2.5 billion beef market here in China. Now, ahead of these talks, government officials in the U.S. have continued to say similar things that they've said in the past, which is to push China on opening up its markets for greater access for foreign firms and for a more transparent regulatory environment. Here's Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin about what they're hoping for.
We still have work to do with China to achieve a balanced relationship that is based on reciprocity. This relationship will provide more opportunities for us and for exporters and companies to compete. This means working to lift foreign ownership restrictions so U.S. companies can participate more fully in China's growing financial services sector. It means working with China to resolve barriers to trade in its information and communications technology.
Now, obviously, a lot of anticipation as both sides come to the table, but experts at a think tank in D.C., Brookings Institution, experts there are saying that this might be more process than progress, and that's because, at least for both sides, it doesn't seem that either really wants to cave in to the other. For the U.S., they're not going to be labeling China a market economy anytime soon, whereas China, because the U.S. has touted some of the early success and talks that they've had with Beijing, there's less pressure in a way for China to agree to what the U.S. wants, to make these concessions. Now, of course, this doesn't mean that China is going to back off from an opportunity to point the finger at the U.S., at problems the U.S. is having. China has long been trying to just show the cracks in the U.S. government. Now, Communist Party mouthpiece, this newspaper, People's Daily, put out an op-ed saying that, quote, not only has the country been thrust into political chaos, but the nation is more divided than ever. It goes on to say that the government, the new Trump administration, just can't get anything meaningful done, and says, quote, indeed, America is making China great again. So definitely taking a U.S. line and trying to make it China. We've heard this before with President Xi Jinping touting the Chinese dream. So definitely, despite obvious interest from both sides and stated interest from government officials of both sides, that they are interested in trying to work together, and they realize the importance of building a good partnership. Certainly China not backing down when it comes to slightly sharper rhetoric. And of course, this is right as these talks are about to kick off. So we will be keeping a close eye on the kinds of announcements that may come out.